Welcome to the Energy Connect studio at ADIPEC 2022. I'm delighted to have sitting next to me again, Angus Rodger, Vice President of Services of Proserv.
Thank you, Julian. It's a pleasure to be with you.
And, we spoke a year ago at ADIPEC last year. A lot of things have changed, and not least in your new role as the global leader across services.
Yeah.
We'll come to that later, but where do you see the strategic priorities in the industry right now?
I think if I talk about that from a services perspective, there's obviously been a lot of change globally within the energy industry. The whole transition to a more sustainable energy future has only been expedited and is an increasing priority more recently. And then naturally we've seen this influence of energy security playing a much bigger part, and we are from a services perspective seeing that have more impact on our business, where there's a real focus around predictability of production. So a lot of our focus and our development from a services perspective has been working with our customers to help enable them to have more predictable operations, more predictable production. And I know there's been the message that's been reinforced at ADIPEC even more this year, and it's not just a local one, I don't feel, it's global, is this maximization of production but minimizing the emissions. So it's that balancing act between those two things, and with security importance being chucked in there, as an added dynamic to handle.
Absolutely, Angus. And technology is very much an enabler of change in all industries, and the energy industry, it's no different. Now, Proserv is a controls technology company, so where are you driving innovation and what are you looking to in 2023? Yeah,
so Proserv is a controls technology company, and I think our heritage has mainly been based around controls of critical energy production infrastructure, control systems and things, the actual physical equipment, physical infrastructure. I think what we've taken a bit of a reflection on in the last 12 months is how we really communicate with the market the fact that the offering that we can provide the industry is not simply around controlling production. So what we've looked at developing is a full cycle around the energy system. So we have control, monitoring, intelligence and optimization. So what we're trying to introduce is visualizing some of the feedback loops that the original infrastructure that we've installed can enable. And ultimately what that really means is, with some of the physical infrastructure and the physical equipment that we build, we're adding on technology to that, and we're evolving the technology there to increase the amount of data that we can capture, which everybody is actively trying to do, turning that data into some real intelligence. So it's not just numbers on a screen, it's actually starting to then inform decisions that both ourselves and the operators can take to optimize their production. Naturally, that's what we want to support. We don't want to just provide equipment into the industry and energy control systems. We want to be there for the full loop cycle, ultimately optimizing the operator's energy production.
Well, that's good to hear, Angus. And as we said earlier, you now lead Proserv service businesses around the globe. How do you see the service sector right now, and what are the market needs and trends you see that you can work on?
So I think services is an interesting part of the industry, and many people will define services very differently. It entirely depends on what sort of part of the industry you're in. For us, there will never not be a need for physical, local intervention, people on the ground familiar with assets that we're looking after. I think the need and the development that we're seeing is customers are now far more interested in having a connected model where we're not just local on the ground with technician resources fixing their issues as they occur, but we're able to offer a fully integrated solution. And like I mentioned earlier, really help them improve the predictability of their production. So with some technology that we're developing, we've sort of taken from our subsea controls heritage, and we're evolving into the likes of cable monitoring within the offshore wind sector. That's been a great evolution of a technology we've developed internally. And what that's enabling us to do is not only wave the flag and make it visual when there are failures, but be able to inform the operators before failures occur, again around critical production infrastructure. So there's a need always for this on-the-ground support, and we're never going to lose focus of that. That's always going to be a huge priority for us as Proserv, having people on the ground that our customers know and can trust, but really embedding that with a fully integrated technical team and technical support network, using the latest technology so that we can give our customers greater predictability of their operating assets.
Great, thanks, Angus. And you're based in the UAE yourself,
Yes.
and Proserv has a significant footprint in the Middle East. Where can the leading players in the region look to maximise their service support, and again, maybe tie into where can digital technology make an impact then?
So, I mean, in the Middle East, I think it's a very well understood thing that when it comes to energy production, we have quite a mature installed base here. Lots of the assets have been producing traditional oil and gas for a long time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a huge amount of opportunity with that existing infrastructure. There's a huge focus on producing new oil and gas and drilling new wells, but there is also a big focus on increasing the production of existing assets. So one of the things in the environments we see in the Middle East, we have a lot of remote infrastructure that is quite a long way away from major support hubs. So some of the technology that we've deployed across the Arabian Gulf is very simple technology to provide well monitoring of remote wells. Mm-hmm. So traditionally wells would be monitored in the Arabian desert manually, be visited by technicians in a pickup truck. We've simply retrofitting some very simple technology onto that existing wellhead, and that enables us to get a daily report and the operators to have a daily report of whether production is maintained or whether there are any H2S leaks. So it's a very simple application of a straightforward technology, allows us to target our service offering just that little bit more tightly and really improve our support to the operators here in the Middle East.
That's really good to hear, Angus. And, we're coming up to the end of 2022, but it sounds like you've got exciting times ahead and busy times ahead in 23. Absolutely.
The business, I think, globally, we've seen a really strong 22. How we're looking now at the end of the year, we've got a great foundation to go into 2023. We're really excited about some of the new contracts that we've recently secured, and our sort of evolution into the renewable space as well, and embracing and developing new digital technology with some great new strategic alliances that we've been forming around the world. So it's a very exciting time for us, and looking forward to a bright 2023.
Great, thanks Angus, and really appreciate you popping around.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Julian.